Hey there, this is Aharu, and I am here to make a guide on how to tank Ruby life pools on both Fort and Tyran weeks. So let's just jump straight into it. At the start of the dungeon, if you have a rogue, shroud past the Juggernaut, or if you don't have a rogue, you guys can use invis pots before putting in the key, and then roar your teammates past the Juggernaut. In this first pull, there are only 2 Chill Weavers, should be very manageable with Incarn. The only things you guys need to watch out for are the Tectonic Slams. You can drop Vortexes, Knock, use your Roar. Generally speaking, I'll save my Typhoon Vortex for when one of the Earthshapers gets shielded, because they cannot be disoriented when it's shielded. It can be knocked though. So this first pull, for the most part, should feel pretty comfortable. The second pull looks a little weird. What I normally do is I pull half of the whelps, because these whelps do hurt a lot. I get my Iron First stacks rolling, and then I pull the rest of them. The whole point of these whelps isn't just for percent, but it is also to get your Incarn off cooldown as fast as possible. The reason why is because these Chill Weavers hurt like crazy, but the moment you have Incarn up, you can instantly go into the next pull. You should be absolutely fine going into this next pull. You definitely will not finish these whelps before you have Incarn up again, so just go pull these the moment you have Incarn, chain it into the next 2 Chill Weavers. Now, if your group has a lot of kicks, you can opt to pull in the 3rd Chill Weaver, but my group does not have a lot of kicks, so usually what we'll do is we'll focus down 1 Chill Weaver, and then I will chain in the next Chill Weaver. My Incarn should still be rolling somewhere like probably towards the end of my Incarn, which is fine. Shouldn't be too big of an issue. And then whenever you feel pretty safe, you can start pulling in these whelps to again reset Incarn faster. Now, if your group is super ahead on time, these are, I forgot to say, keep in mind these timings are for a 22/23 Fort key. So yeah, if your team is pretty fast on killing these Chill Weavers, you can opt to pull this Chill Weaver along with these whelps. If the pat is over here, or if the pat is over here, you can pull these into your pack, into your big pull. If you haven't finished killing everything, and but you have killed like one to 2 Chill Weavers, you can start chaining. So like the rule of thumb is you generally don't want 3 Chill Weavers at the same time, but because of this pat, if you don't have a rogue, you want to look for some kind of timing to pull this next Chill Weaver to you, or what you can opt to do instead is pull this Chill Weaver with the next mini boss. Usually for us, the timing works out such that the pat comes over here. It's patting on a good pat, and we're finishing up our previous pack. So we'll finish this up, and then I will pull this Chill Weaver along with all these whelps, the mini boss, and go tank it in this room. It is absolutely fine to pull one of these Earthshapers. These 2 are not connected. This Chill Weaver does pat between these 2. I would not recommend pulling 2 Chill Weavers with the mini boss. 1 Chill Weaver, 1 Earthshaper is absolutely fine with the mini boss. Just not 2, unless you have enough kicks and you guys know you can get your stops. Generally speaking, I will chain the 2nd Chill Weaver in a little late when the 1st Chill Weaver is already dead. And this will be an Incarn pull because you reset it with these 6 whelps previously. So you will have Incarn on this pull. That will mean you don't have Incarn at the start of this boss fight, which is absolutely fine. Do not panic about it. It's actually a good thing. So real quick, I'm going to pull up a log of Milladrusa Chillworn. And the way this boss fight works is you will usually have 2 chill storms and then an intermission. Between the first and second intermission, you can have 2 chill storms. It just depends on how the DPS of your group is. But the key things that I want to point out though is how many frigid shards there are between each major between each big damage event. So between the first chill storm and second chill storm, there is usually 6 frigid shards. It's usually between 4 to 6. Okay, it's always going to be 4 before the first one, and then 6 after the first one. And as you can see, you have a bit of space in between the first 4, but coming out of the first chill storm, there are 4 all at the same time. So this is where it gets a little spicy. What I normally do is on pull, I will pop a bark skin. The boss will melee, and so if you have no iron for stacks, it will chunk you very hard. 1 melee plus a frigid shard will like drop you to 20% instantly. So that's why you definitely want to pop bark skin or Rage of the Sleeper on pull. And then don't instantly press Frenzied Regen though. Obviously, let your healer know you will need a lot of healing in this fight. Key rule of thumb for this fight is press Frenzied Regen usually around 50%, and you know there's probably going to be another 2 frigid shards coming soon. And then renewal and your health pot reserve for situations where you drop to 20% HP. Never pop it when you're at 50%. It's a pretty bad idea, generally speaking. Okay, I will tell you where the real lethal point is on this fight. But yeah, bark skin on pull. It'll, for the most part, last for the first 3-ish, maybe 4th frigid shard, and then chill storm comes. During this first chill storm, even though it may not be too lethal, what you're going to do is you are going to press SI. You're going to press SI the moment you see the first frigid shard, because it will last for the next 4. Okay? Or not next 4, sorry. It will last for the next 3. And then you should feel pretty healthy with just pressing 1 Frenzied Regen, and then you tank the 4th. Should be absolutely fine, no issues there. And then during the second chill storm is where I usually will pop Incarn on Tyrant week specifically, because the boss has not gotten to the 75% threshold to phase. I think it's 75%. But yeah, so if the boss isn't at the threshold to phase, then she will continue casting frigid shards after the chill storm. But if she has already reached that point, she will actually cast 0 frigid shards. As you can see, like there's no frigid shards. She's just waiting for the chill storm to finish, and then she will cast the thing to go into intermission, like Awaken Whelp, something like that. Yeah, Awaken Whelp's right there. She will always do 1 frigid shard before she starts doing her channel of Frost Overlord. This 1 frigid shard actually does hurt a lot and is actually kind of dangerous, because the whelps again do hurt. However, if you pop it, your Incarn on the second chill storm, it will last into the intermission, which is really good. It will keep you healthy. You'll be very tanky. Should have no issues with the first set. Ideally, if you can, hold Incarn until the first intermission. If you have to pop in on the second chill storm, do it by all means. Alright. And then coming out of the first intermission, usually the whelps are still alive for me, and I'll usually pop a bark skin, and it will last for these first 2, maybe the 3rd frigid shard. And once again, you know, pop Frenzied Regen as needed. Do not pop at 70%. Again, pop it like when you're around 50 to 60%. Don't over pop Frenzied Regens. That is the #1 way to die. Okay. So on this next chill storm, usually this is where you want to pop your what's it called? Your next Rage of the Sleeper. Because again, like I said, for me, normally what I do is I pop Incarn plus Rage of the Sleeper on this first chill storm. It's just for damage. I have it macroed in, not the best idea to be honest, but I would space it out if I could. If I would recommend spacing it out, if anything, pop Rage of the Sleeper on this chill storm, and then you can use Incarn on the first intermission. That way it'll last a little longer. And then for this first chill storm coming out of the first intermission, you should have either a Barkskin or Rage of the Sleeper here. One or the other. If you don't, pop a second SI. It should be okay. Once again, you will have 4 more Frigid Shards, so hold off on pressing SI until you see that first Frigid Shard, then press SI, or Barkskin, or Rage of the Sleeper, whatever the case might be, and then you 100% need to press a Frenzied Regen here. This is the most lethal area, around 615 all the way up to like 710-ish. This area, this area is usually the most lethal. This is where you really want to be ready to press a renewal, a health pot, etc. Especially on the first intermission, because you don't have Incarn here, you will want to for sure be very ready to press Frenzied Regens. If you have to, use an SI here if you haven't used it already. But generally speaking, for me, I will normally have a Barkskin on this first chill storm coming out of the first intermission, and then I will have an SI usually on the second intermission, or vice versa. Again, you can do Barkskin here, Barkskin slash Rage of the Sleeper, depending on when you popped it. Again, the timings will change. If you pop Rage of the Sleeper on pull, then like for the first few, then you'll have it for the third chill storm. If you popped Barkskin on the first chill storm, or like before it, then you will have it for the third chill storm. So yeah, it's just like whichever one you decide to pop first, doesn't really matter. I swap it up sometimes. It just depends on my timings because of the mini boss from beforehand. So either way, again, Barkskin or SI here, and then whichever one you don't use, you use on the second intermission. Second intermission, if you have issues with grabbing threat, go out to pull the whelps early, and if you have a Windscar Whetstone, save it for that. Then everything you have to survive pretty much in this area leading up in the first chill storm, and then around the first chill storm is when you will have Incarn up again, and then when you have Incarn up again, you should be absolutely fine. So once again, every defensive you have pretty much around 609 to 710. Use everything you have, because once you have Incarn up again, you cannot die, okay? During Incarn, you cannot die. If you die during Incarn, that means you are using too many GCDs, pressing damage spells, and not using them on Frenzied Regen. Do not get what's it called? GCD locked. Trying to do damage, like you're at 50%, you get GCD locked, and then you die because you decided not to press Frenzied Regen early. And then the Frenzied Regen or the Incarn should last you for the rest of the fight, and that should be pretty easy. Alright, so let's get back into the rest of the dungeon real quick. So for the rest of this dungeon, it should be pretty straightforward. You will have Incarn on pull 6. You do not need to pop a defensive when you have Incarn for Thunderjaw, even on Fort. I'm usually pretty healthy unless you're very low eye level. And then rotate Barkskin and Rage of the Sleeper as needed. SI if you really need. Pull 7, usually you will not have Incarn. You will have it near the end on a 22-23 for me at least. And then I'll usually pop it, go in, chain it into pull 8 with the Incarn, finish that. Pull 9, I'll have Incarn towards the end. Usually I'll save it here, I won't use it. And then I'll go into pull 10 with Incarn. The reason why I don't use it on pull 9 is because usually my healer still has CDs, healing CDs, so I'll pop Incarn on pull 10 to help out with the healing a little bit more since I generate more rage. This Fire Dragon, make sure it has perched / landed right here on these 5 Scorchlings before you actually go into this pull. Make sure your entire party is in melee. You can drag this pull up the stairs to give your party more room, or tell them to go up the stairs with the fire circles. Just keep in mind, you need to play in melee for this pack, otherwise you will pull the Fire Dragon. As for getting around to pull 11, you can sneak by this tree right here. There's a tree here. You can sneak by this without pulling the Shotcaster. However, you do need to know the exact pathing. Normally, we run with the Esprit, so I can't tell you exact pathing. We usually Mind Soothe. Best way is just to wait for the dragon to fly away. It will waste some time, but it's okay. This key isn't really about time. It's pretty much just about staying alive and not wiping to any packs. So you pull it, you go into this, pop Incarn, it's okay, you won't have it for the boss, no issues whatsoever. Same thing for this boss. Usually what I'll do is for the first Searing Blow Tank Buster, I will pop Bark Skin. Second Searing Blow, I'll pop SI, and then for the third one, my Incarn should be up. I pop Incarn, and it should last me all the way up until the next 2. And then from there, you just, again, rotate Bark Skin, SI, every single time. Every single Searing Blow, you pop 1 defensive plus 1 Frenzied Regen. That should last you, okay? If you are dying to it, chances are you are probably popping it very late, or you are not saving a GCD to press Frenzied Regen, okay? So do not panic. It's just about knowing when this is coming. Stare at your timers, pop the Bark Skin before it comes out. Obviously, don't play reactionary. You play reactionary, you die. Okay, and then we usually invis skip this because we have a Holy Priest. Holy Priests aren't the best against Tempest Channelers. You can change the route if you want. What we'll normally do is we go into the mini boss. You pop Incarn here. And then afterwards, on pull 15, you won't have Incarn yet, but it will be coming up shortly. So for this one, it does hurt a lot because of these Thunderclaps. You rotate your defensives, your Bark Skin SIs, because you should have all of it. You usually do not need it for this pull 14. And then you rotate those until Incarn comes back up. You pop Incarn immediately. And then same thing for pull 16. You won't have Incarn at the start. You will have it midway through this pack. Just pop your defensives and then Incarn whenever it's off cooldown. And then for the last boss, pretty much save Incarn until the phase 2, because that's when your healer has no time to heal you. You are pretty much just healing yourself the entire time. So during the regular phase, for any Storm Slam, usually speaking, I'll pop Bark Skin with the Frenzied Regen. Honestly, you can tank these without any defensives. Like, it should be no problem at all. You do dip low, but realistically, it's fine. There's no damage coming afterwards. So if your healer is panicking, just tell him it's okay. There's no damage coming afterwards. Obviously, press a Frenzied Regen for every Storm Slam. But aside from that, like, even if you drop the 30%, realistically, it's not lethal. Like, there's no damage coming afterwards. There's actually no damage. So in phase 1, should be pretty relaxing. The number 1 way to die on this boss fight is you pop your defensives all in phase 1. We got nothing in going to phase 2, and your healer cannot heal you at all. That is how you die. Alright. thank you for watching, and that is my video for Ruby Life Pools. Hope you enjoyed.